Doja Cat is to me the most talented. Like
Yeah,
I don't want to say all time, but like it is she's the most talented. Like
yeah,
it's obvious to me.
yeah. She's kind of like, I'm trying to think of a sports analogy, but it's like she is who people think Kyrie Irving is.
I
Okay,
knew what you were gonna say. I knew it. As soon as you started, I said, this is about to be a Kyrie reference. I could
she
smell it.
is.
I could smell it. Good afternoon, beautiful people. This is another episode of Album Mode. We review a new album every single week. We look at the lyrics, the production, the overall aesthetic of the album, and how that album fits into the context of that artist's career. For everyone watching on YouTube, we appreciate you. We love the support. Subscribe to us and leave us a comment. Let us know how wrong we always are. My name is Adriel Smiley, aka AdrielSmiley.com, aka Adriel Smiley Official, aka The Godfather, aka Champion Scribe. And we are here like we are every single week with His Royal Highness, aka the Bunny, aka the Munch, aka Green Goblin King Grant.
Welcome back, everybody. We're back this time with Doja Cat and her latest album, Vi. Doja Cat, an artist, rapper, singer, songwriter, hit maker extraordinaire. An artist that I have been following since the Moo days. Moo. When we didn't even know what her name was. It was just the Moo girl. Okay. But
Mm-hmm.
I've been deep in the Doja Cat verse, unfortunately, because I now know that she is doing stuff with feet in racial chat rooms. I did not need to know that.
Is she still doing that? I thought that was a thing she did before. Is she still active, like in
No,
these
no,
streets?
it's past
I,
tense. It's past
okay,
tense.
okay, okay. I was
But
just,
I'm in the universe, so I have to know. I had to know that. Unfortunately,
yeah, yeah.
but we're here back with Doja Cat. She has dropped her latest album off of the back of Scarlet, which was very much hip hop, straight rapidy raps, and she is doing Vi, which I would say almost no rapidy raps, very little rapidy raps.
The sound is not rapidy rap, but there's definitely some raps on here. You know,
Yeah, but
I
I
would
would say this
say
is probably the least raps out of all of her projects is on this album.
I would agree with that. If I wanted to give a parallel before we even get started to a project we reviewed a few weeks ago, maybe months now, would be Lil Sims, where there's
Okay.
rapping on here, but the production is not necessarily hip hop.
Right.
So that can give you the context for this project. I want to do two things off the top. First of all, we've got to talk about our past Doja Cat reviews. We've only done one. She's been on an episode of Sound Bites as well. For being a little too alt-right, as someone say, depends on what side you're on, of course. All opinions matter.
No,
Um,
no, those opinions are not valid. We are not respecting those people's opinions.
okay,
Not on this podcast.
Demar doesn't respect your opinion.
No.
I respect all your opinions, even if I disagree.
Mm.
But our last Doja Cat review was for Scarlet, September of 2023. Do you remember the score that you gave it?
It felt very six and a half ish to me, maybe light seven.
You gave it a 5.5. I
Okay.
gave it a 6. I actually was surprised that we both were so low on it because you're right. It did feel 6.5, 7-ish, like good album, not great. So I thought
Mhm.
that was very interesting. Before we even talk about this album and the sound, I want to read something that she said about her own project in the New York Times. She said, "Love, life, and the mess in between." She said she'll be leaning into her pop roots and doing what I know how to do.
Mhm.
Very, very vague. Doing what I know how to do. What does that even mean? Somehow it makes sense. Once you hear this album, it actually makes sense her saying, doing what I know how to do. People have been asking me about this project. A lot of people are still stuck on Planet Her. They kind of skipped over Scarlet, which I think is a misstep if you're a Doja Cat fan. A lot of
Mhm.
good stuff on Scarlet still, even the deluxe as well. I was like, how are
Yeah.
people sleeping on the deluxe? One of the better deluxes that I've seen in the past few years. But I call this Doja Cat's version of a yacht rock album. That's
Okay.
what this is to me. Like Doja Cat took her own stab at yacht rock, one of our favorite subgenres, whatever you want to call it. But that takes me to the time to give a shout out to the Yacht Rap playlist. This is a playlist by Demar. I've contributed some to it, but I want to give Demar most of the credit. This is his baby. Right now, 88 saves on
Yeah.
Spotify. But if you guys have not saved this playlist and you like this album, this playlist is a lot of things similar but better. Similar but better. So Yacht Rap playlist, find Demar Grant on Spotify. Make sure you guys go and check that out. Demar, what was your kind of temperature coming into this album? Were you excited? Where were you at with this?
I was very excited for this because I think Doja Cat is, I've said this before, one of the most important artists of the 2020s, especially when it comes to like the TikTok era of music. Massive figure, super, super, super huge. And so I was looking forward to this because I was wondering, okay, so we were, kind of an underground artist, and then we had some, pop and hip, like she was like a pop rapper, I would say during the Hot Pink era. And then now Planet Her, it kind of became more of a pop, like more pop, little rap. And then she did Scarlet, where it was just big rap, no pop, right? So I was trying to figure out which word is the big size and which one's the small size. And we've gone back to big pop, little rap, right? Which is fine. But I was just curious as where she was going because when Scarlett came out and just like her temperament at the time, she seemed really upset that people did not respect her. Like she's like, this is the top 10 rapper of all time, top 10 rapper of this era or whatever. She seemed really upset about that. So this album, I was like, okay, is she really gonna go back into that? Like really trying to prove oneself? Or is she just gonna be Doja Cat? I don't really care. I'm making my music. People can classify however they feel like classifying after the fact. And I feel like she's gone more in the second route and maybe even third route where it's like, actually, I'm just gonna make it as pop friendly as possible and to see if people will still try to categorize it as a rap album. And I think that I would consider this more of a pop album than a rap album.
Yeah, one thing about this album, which I actually like this about it, but it leans into what you're saying of its capital pop, lowercase rap,
Hmm.
is that every time she raps on a song, it feels like a feature, even if it's
Mm,
her. Like when the raps come in, it feels like the song has taken a different tone. And that wasn't the case before. Like her singing and rapping were kind of melded together more. This one is like, oh, you're rapping now. Like you can notice it almost right away. So
right.
definitely something different with this project. One thing I think about Doja Cat, and I'm talking about like where she is now in her career and then just where she is all time. To me, I think she's done the pop rap lane better than any female rapper.
I agree.
I say she's the best at that. If you want pop raps, like she is the GOAT of pop raps. Now, other artists have done it bigger, like a Nicki
Hmm.
Minaj, but I think when Nicki Minaj did it with songs like Starships, it kind of felt a little cringy. It's like big song, but this doesn't feel authentic.
Right.
Doja Cat is like you're keeping that authenticity with these huge records. So I think that's one thing is she's probably the GOAT of pop rap from
Hmm.
women's perspective. And then as well, I think like talent wise, she has some of these songs where she's singing, like she is doing things that no one else is really doing. And I think when you mentioned her feeling like Scarlett was underrated, she wasn't getting the respect she deserved, that is valid. That
Hmm.
is an absolutely valid take because I think Doja Cat is to me the most talented. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to say all time, but like it is she's the most talented. Like
Yeah.
it's obvious to me.
Yeah. She's kind of like, I'm trying to think of a sports analogy, but it's like she is who people think Kyrie Irving is.
I
Okay.
knew what you were gonna say. I knew it. As soon as you started, I said, this is about to be a Kyrie reference. I could
She
smell it.
is
I could smell it.
where the way that people describe Kyrie is like most skilled, can do literally anything, left hand, right hand, any position, any way, whatever, right? And Doja Cat is actually that person where the singing and the rapping, I think she's a better singer now. Like when I was listening to this album, I was
Agreed.
like, just give me more of the singing, actually. The rapping is kind of, not as great as I want it to be. A song like Gorgeous is
Hmm.
like a perfect example of that. This is Gorgeous is a song we thought we were hearing when Drake was coming out. Where we're like, "Oh, they can rap and sing." But then you hear a song like Gorgeous, she's like, yo, she's really fucking sing like she could just be a singer. You know what I mean? And then she also has the ability to rap. She came up as originally as a rapper. So a song like Gorgeous where like her vocals are so sweet, so like light, like it's
Hmm.
so almost like very girly. Like I don't know what to say. Like it sounds
It's no, it's
very
very
feminine.
feminine, but it's
Yeah.
not the whisper singing.
No.
That I think is what makes it so enticing. Is this is not the whisper singing where you have one tone, almost like what Drake used to do and still
Hmm.
does, where it's like you don't have the range. Like you're seeing some of her range in these records. Two things I wanted to mention before we even get started.
Hmm.
Where is the Justin Bieber feature? Like this is where we're at in pop music, where the top artists are making like lo-fi R&B and
I
yacht
know.
rock. Like,
Bring the
where is the
pop
Justin
stars on the
Bieber?
pop albums, bro.
Like, again, maybe she's too alt-right for Justin Bieber, or they have personal beef. Who knows? Who knows? But that was the feature that when I heard this album the second time, I said that's what's
Mhm.
missing from this. A Justin Bieber feature would be absolutely killer on this project.
Yeah.
And and
Especially
then
in the R&B-ish songs on the back end, like Make It Up.
yes,
Throw a little Bieber
yes,
on Make It Up one more time, even. Yo, what are we talking about?
yes. And then as well, like the production on here, there's so many good records. Like and I'll even give this away. I don't even have any lyrics on this project.
Wow.
Like because this is I was like, this is just vibes. Like what you're saying is not that different from the last album. Last album, you were more trying to prove yourself than you are now. And then one of my favorite things about Doja Cat as a celebrity is she's okay with not being liked,
Hmm.
which is a trait that I admire. But I think the production on here is just such in a different place. And let's start with Amen. I like that the sample on there. I like her kind of her version of singing on Amen. Apparently it was going to be called Amen at first, and they turned it to Ah Man. Um, but
You
this
like that
song,
sample.
say it again.
You like that sample.
I
We're
do.
getting it to that point now that our parents used to be at, where like every song we knew when we were a kid is getting sampled now.
100%. But here's why I like it is because it is kind of that ear candy for people in our age group, millennials. But it's not, it doesn't take over the record. You know,
Okay.
like if you hear the record at a certain point, you're like, oh, I didn't even realize that was in there. Jack Antonoff is a producer on that. I want to do a little side on Jack Antonoff. Okay,
Okay.
Taylor Swift is on the way. Jack
Next
Antonoff
week?
just did GNX last year.
Yeah.
So he is, I don't want to say he's at his peak, but he's clearly rising.
Hmm.
Everyone's love for Jack Antonoff, is it real? Because no, and no, here's why I say this because we've reviewed what three or four Taylor Swift albums, maybe about to be
Yeah.
five, and there's not really any times when we're reviewing an album and we're like "Ugh, the production on here. Like there are some moments, of course,
Hmm.
but we have said on almost every project, whether we like the project or not,
Hmm.
that the production is most of the time the weakest part of the album.
For what? Taylor Swift.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And Jack Antonoff is like that's his biggest collaborator.
Yeah.
You know, he's moved on to working with, Kendrick and
Hmm.
now Doja Cat.
Hmm.
But are we just giving him the credit because he works with such a popular artist that
I,
that's what it is? Because I don't remember a time, you tell me, and fans in the comments, YouTube, Spotify, tell me if I'm wrong. Is there a time with Taylor Swift's production when everyone was like, "Oh my goodness, who's producing this? This is crazy." I don't remember that. So it's more just like he's getting credit for success, but success is still worth something. But the actual production itself, are there those times when it's like a Timbaland or a Swiss Beats or even a Dream where you're like, oh my gosh, these sounds, I can't believe it. Am I missing that, or is that how people think of Jack Antonoff?
I'm going back into Taylor Swift's catalog right now because I was trying to find something. But no, here's the thing with Jack Antonoff. Okay. Because his largest collaborator is Taylor Swift, and he's the producer for the vast majority, I don't want to say vast majority, but a significant portion of her music,
Hmm.
he is getting the imbued with the Taylor Swift sauce, right? So any song, any album that Taylor Swift does, it goes massive. And then he is one of the main producers. So everybody's like, Jack Antonoff, genius, right? Where I would say for a long period of time, I've been a Jack Antonoff, who cares type of person, okay? But then I would say recently, we've been able to see Jack Antonoff escape the black hole that is Taylor Swift's music and actually collaborate with people that make music that sounds interesting. I would not say Taylor Swift's like auditory experience is very interesting. I think it's just like her songwriting is. So when you see him now with Kendrick Lamar and Doja Cat, where when we listen to their music, they're like, this sounds cool. Then you're seeing him, okay, he can actually stretch and like do things that sound interesting, sound cool. So to me, that just shows that Taylor Swift, like what we're getting from Jack Antonoff regarding Taylor Swift, shows me that's what Taylor Swift wants from Jack Antonoff. Like you have songs like there was like a Lover, right? That's the album where it was I want to say like 90% Jack Antonoff. And that was like the only time in Taylor Swift's career where I was like, "Oh, the songs sound interesting." Like Cruel Summer or something like that. That sounds interesting to me. But otherwise, not really. So when you're hearing Jack Antonoff, he's on what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of the tracks, 9 of the 15 tracks on this. And now you're hearing him like actually try to experiment and do stuff, like actually try to do interesting things. So when you hear a song like even like a song like Couples Therapy, right? Then we're like, oh, he can actually make, kind of like funky songs with like, synths involved and have this like the 80s closed gate snares and stuff like that. Then we're seeing like interesting Jack Antonoff. Now I'm like, oh, okay, I guess he's legit. But before, what you guys were saying before was not legit to me. Like you guys are seeing something different. You guys are seeing all these different shades of gray, and we're like, oh, gray, let's go. And I'm like, bruh, everybody else is doing colors. Why are we talking about gray? But now he's doing different colors.
Yeah, that's how I felt thinking about this because the thing about this project, and we'll talk more about this at the end, but I think about what if this had been Doja Cat's first project we heard from her? Like, think
Mm,
about her career if this is the first we hear of Doja Cat. Like, we're looking at it so differently. And I think that is part of thinking about this album is what you heard from her last, which was her most rappy project,
yeah.
and then Planet Her, which was her biggest project. Because this project on its own, if this was an artist we had never heard of, didn't have any preconceived notions, we look at this album so much differently. And after a couple listens, I was like, let me try and go into that space of forget what I think about Doja Cat, forget that I know her voice.
Mm.
If this is new rapper, why? And they put this project out. What do we think of this? This is almost groundbreaking, like essentially, So I think that's a part of this project that's like hard to wrap your head around. Gorgeous, you mentioned it earlier, one of my
Love that
favorite
song.
songs
I love that
on
song.
here. I love those muted drums, kind of like that tom snare combo. That always hits for me. This is one of those songs I thought to myself, this could have been on Planet Her.
Yeah, a lot
There
of
is a
these songs could
world
have
where
been
this
on
could have
Planet
been
Her.
on Planet Her, and it's funny because a lot of people talking about this project are just skipping, Scarlet and Scarlet Cloud,
Hmm.
just completely, and like, "Oh, I don't like so much as Planet Her." I was like, there's a whole another two projects that you guys have to mention. Um, but I think thinking about this fitting on Planet Her is like this is maybe not as far as it is for Doja Cat, but because she's coming off her most rap heavy project, it feels like more of a reach. But in
Yeah.
reality, when she said doing what I do, doing what I know how to do, this is kind of, what she means by that. So the drums on that, I love. The breakdown on the chorus, I love. Gorgeous, one of my favorite songs on here.
Yeah, I think that this album really reminds me of we were talking about Janet Jackson on the previous album. I'm like, this is like straight up if you just took Pleasure Principle. I think it was yeah, the Pleasure Principle and just modernized it. That's just this album. Like a song like Take Me Dancing.
Hmm.
It's just like this is a 1984, 5, 6 album redone where like the people actually rap on it. Like this is like Pleasure Principle if I don't know if they got Run DMC on some of the tracks or something.
Yo, Janet Jackson and Run DMC.
But yeah, like or if they got LL Cool J or something like that. That would actually make more
Hmm.
sense. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
But seriously, like I think that because it's so 80s, literally Janet Jackson influence that it's still a pleasure to the ear, man. I don't know if anybody listening to this podcast has heard the pleasure principle, but you need to. Um, you
Yes.
need to. Not even for this, like just as a music listener,
Just
you need
just
to see
for
that.
life.
Yeah, you need to listen to that album. But I think that, these songs are, yeah, just like Janet Jackson, the pleasure principle. And over, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I love the hook on this. Like Take Me Dancing, for example, is one of those songs where I'm just like, this could have come out straight up in the 80s and would have fit directly, and we'd be hearing this on Stranger Things, season
Oh my
three or some
God.
shit.
Yeah, Take Me Dancing is definitely one of
Yeah.
those like it's
The
also
the
go ahead.
synth stabs, the drums again, it's mostly sung, right? Almost all of it I think is sung. So that's what I'm
Mhm.
talking about. SZA fits in well, only feature on the entire album. I thought it was amazing. Great. I kind of sad that this came out in the fall instead of the summer.
This is gonna be a summer album.
Yeah.
Like this is one of those I think when summertime comes, we're gonna run all these songs back. Like, once you get that like pink sky, these are the songs you want to play that go with that pink sky. I have one more song for production,
Hmm.
but the thing about this album that I think it really, really hit me again on my like second or third listen, this is like an album full of timeless music. Like
Sure.
this is not what everything sounds like right now. If you hear this album 15 years from now, you can remember that it came out in 2025 in the fall. But if you had no kind of context of that, when would you think this album came out? Like
Yeah, that's true.
there's no kind of tell other than a couple things in the lyrics, but there's no real tell that this is a 2025 project. And I
Hmm.
actually like that. Hear from her. Um, Happy, one of the least listened to songs on this project. But I like it a lot. Again, those like 80s style drums really, really hit for me. It reminds me of like Whitney Houston, How Will I Know? Like that kind of energy. Obviously, it's not the vocalist that Whitney is, very, very
Yeah.
different, but that's the energy on some of these. And I
Hmm.
think these are danceable songs in a way that's not shaking ass. You
True.
know,
Yeah. You want to
like these
dance
are
inside
like
of a club.
you want to really dance to these. Like these are not the songs where you're going to be nonchalant to. Like all the nonchalant people, this is not the record for you. So Happy, one of my favorites on here. The production to me is like I don't want to say 10 out of 10,
This is like A
but
plus.
A plus production on here.
Yeah, same cards is another great example. Like it's New Jack Swing, basically a lot of New Jack Swing, a lot of pop from that time. Cards is one of my favorites because it also has one of my favorite post hooks. I don't really, I talk about the hooks. This is a hook heavy project. If the lyrics are important, I kind of miss that. No, but seriously, the hooks are so important to these songs, into them existing as the way that they do. But she is like, so in the post chorus, she's like, play your cards. Like it's almost like a meowing sound, right? Like literally like a cat, right? And I thought that was just interesting considering her name, but she is not. I feel like she very, 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 very rarely plays up the cat element of like the persona or her name. But I felt that in this song, the way that it's pronounced, it's hard to do it multiple times in a row. So that's probably like they got one good take and then they just
Copy and
yeah,
paste.
that's how it felt like to me. But that one take sounds excellent, man. I really like that. It's such an ear grabbing portion of the song. That's the hook. Even though it's not technically the chorus, it's the hook though.
Yeah. And happy you mentioned cards. I love cards as an intro. Like cards as an intro works so well for me on so many different levels. Like establishes the sound. Then you have kind of like that second half of the record where it's a lot more bass and synth heavy.
Hmm.
They're just kind of floating and doing their own thing at certain parts. And then she comes in with her rap, and you're like, no, no, I'm still Doja Cat. Like,
Yeah.
don't worry, I'm still here. So I love cards as an intro. I want to know what you have for lyrics. Like, are there any lyrics for you that you're just like, okay, you got to know what's going on with Doja Cat?
I think most of my lyrics are hook based. I think that most of her songs are about it's either sex or attracting people. or rejecting people. It's very relationship oriented, but not in a deep way. Like at least on Scarlet, she was doing the same thing on Scarlet, but the songs were much deeper in the way that they were constructed. And that is the difference between making a hip hop album and making a pop album, right? When you're making a rap album, you can dig as deep as you want to in two or three verses and in a way you cannot do on a pop album. So I think that it's while it's about similar stuff, it's just not as dense. There are portions where she's like rapping in French, where it's on Lip Stain. It's a song that I do like. On Lip Stain, she's like, what is this verse one? Yeah, it's like I say tu es ma vie et mon tout et tout le monde le sait. That's my French accent. That's the closest you'll ever get out of me for a French accent right now. But she's like, you are my life and my everything, and everyone knows it. They don't want to see me with you. Some of them pray to God that we split. Laisse-moi embarrasser ton cou, which is let me kiss your neck. I let you hit it raw yesterday. Let me rub your cheek on your suit. I'm your woman. Es tu obile? I don't know that. I don't know what obile means. I'm your woman. Did you forget? So when she raps, it's more complex. Again, there's French. She's rapping in French, right? Whereas the other parts where she's singing, straightforward, I'm the hottest person ever. I'm the cutest person ever. Everybody wants to sleep with me. Uh, I want to do stuff. I want to do, let's say, let's have a sexual experience. That's probably the most PG way to say that.
Yes.
So it's, not very complex, but it's still fun. I mean, like Dancing with Me is one of the better songs I talked about. And it's like on the chorus, she's like, "You're so raw, boy. You're so romantic. When you fuck me right, then you take me dancing. It gets done, it gets done. Oh, sorry, it gets lonely out here in this big old mansion in these heels cooped up, boy. Can you take me dancing?" So the chorus is fun, fun tracks. So it's not that big on the lyrics. I hate to break it to people.
Man, I think she does this thing that, again, she may be the best at it. Like, we're not giving her the best at any of these things enough. Let's
Hmm.
start with there. But this feels like almost like a social media adjacent album. Like
Yeah.
that's really the tell of the times is the subject matter. Because this is very much casual dating. Like
Yeah.
all these
Super
songs,
casual.
it's very, very casual dating. What's going on dates? I don't know how I feel yet. And like
Hmm.
it's funny because even some of the song titles, like I think of the song Acts of Service, it's
Hmm.
like that's not a phrase I don't think that Janet Jackson was using. You know what I mean? Like that's a very 2025 phrase. That as a casual dating phrase when you meet new people and they go, "So what are your love languages?"
Mm. Acts of
And you just
service.
want to make sure you got the right answer so you don't sound absolutely crazy. So I think that is what I like about the lyrics here. Is like even though nothing that stands out to me is like I need to dive deep into this. Fitting of the times because even though she's a celebrity, she's still a real person. She's a millennial like us, just living life.
Yeah.
So totally get it.
Yeah. The hook on that one too is like fun. It's like I think she's rapping in that light, really feminine voice where it's like, "What it mean?" Oh, my voice is not, it's not suited. It's not suited. But it's like, would it mean that I found my person? Oh, oh, where the language is acts of service. Oh, oh. Baby, how did I know for certain? I'm trying to say it in the same way she's rapping, and she's rapping in a very staccato way. And it makes it feel like that verse is being shrunken and almost being sung, but it's being rapped. Like I recognize this you're rapping here. This is not being sung. But because of the way that it's rapped, it sounds closer to singing. So yeah, I think the lyrics are fun. Hooks are really good. We're talking about the hooks. Basically, you just spent like 10 minutes talking about a bunch of hooks. And she's just amazing at it. She's just amazing. It's actually unbelievable how good she is. And I wish she did more feature work for people who are not very hook heavy. Can you imagine? I'm just gonna put this out here. I just want you to just think about what this would even sound like. An Earl Sweatshirt song with Doja Cat featured. Can you even imagine that?
I can't. My brain can't compute that. Like, there's no song. It's like a 404 message, a 404 scream. Like, there's nothing. I can't even imagine. I
But I,
can't.
the thing, she's kind of like in the same zone where Quavo was, where it's just like get him on the song and just get him to write the hook. You know what I mean? Like just I just need one hook, two hook,
No,
three hooks. That's
I
what I
want to.
want.
No, no, no. I want to see her and Earl rap back and forth. Like
Oh,
when I think her and Earl, I'm thinking like Benny the Butcher and Black Thought. You know, like that's what I want to see, that like rap. Because I think Doja Cat can really rap.
me too.
I
I'm not trying to discredit her. That's what we
I
said on Scarlet. She was it was a rap album,
Yeah.
but right now
So
she's not doing a rap album.
that's what I want to see. I want to talk about what this means for her career because
Okay.
I think she's in such an interesting place. We talked about this last week a lot with Cardi B. It's, amazing we're doing two of the top, female rappers of the 2020s back to back.
Hmm.
Is that a coincidence? I don't think so.
No, they're trying to
But
dodge. They're trying to dodge the Taylor Swift heat. Trust me.
yeah, yeah, they're getting their first week numbers good while before Taylor
Exactly.
just,
They're just like,
you
give me
know,
the number one real quick because she's coming.
yeah,
The blonde
at
devil is
this
coming.
at this rate, we're getting Iceman in January.
I
But
know.
I think for her career, this to me is might be the best thing she's done in the past 3 or 4 years since Planet Her, because I think that the last two projects gave her critical acclaim and credibility,
Hmm.
in two separate rooms that Planet Her did not do. I
Yeah.
think that is a big thing for her where and I think it's still seen as a success. I think with Cardi B, that's one thing we talked about a lot where in this day and age, it's more important that you look successful than that your music is good.
Hmm.
I think this is going to be a point where she's done both. And I think Doja Cat is such a big artist that she'll just be able to tour regardless of the album.
Yeah.
So it almost makes more sense to do these kind of, we'll call them side quest albums. Um,
You don't
while
feel
it's
like
like,
this? Your framing of this is very different than mine. But continue.
well, that's because of how I heard people talk about it. Like, more than one person said to me, I didn't like it as much as Planet Her. And
Oh,
I'm like,
okay.
what does Planet Her have to do with this?
Yeah.
But that's really how I think people are framing, this project in their minds of like,
Hmm.
that's how I see Doja Cat. I see Planet Her. And why I'm bringing that up because it's similar to what we talked about with Cardi B last week is a lot of people, your first time you're seeing Cardi B is Bodak Yellow.
Hmm.
You don't know the social media love of hip hop star Cardi B.
Hmm.
So to a lot of her fans who know that Cardi B is like, she's always going to be Cardi B in that way. But to the new fans, you came in at Planet Her, you came in at Bodak Yellow. So I think Doja Cat is on that type of time because, like you mentioned at the top, Moo is what we think of when we think of Doja Cat.
Yeah, that
That's
was early.
so I think her fans who are from that time, she still seems successful. She didn't have a flop, but for the fans who are kind of knowing her more as a celebrity than a musician, now you have a bunch of stuff to chew on. So to me, this is a big win for her career.
Yeah, I think it's great for her career. I think my framing of this album is different than yours. To me, Scarlet was the Sidequest album. I think that this is
I
this
I said multiple. I think they're both Sidequest albums.
I think this is mainline Doja Cat. This is gonna get played everywhere. This is gonna get played TikTok, club, outside, everywhere, literally everywhere. Right. So I think that this, like the jump from Planet Her to this is like natural progression almost. Scarlett was like again, she's literally even said it. Like she made it because I want to make sure everybody knows rapper. Doja Cat, rapper, right? Whereas for people like me and you, we can identify as people being multiple things as a musician.
Yep.
Right? So
You don't got
we
to
can,
tell us.
yeah, we can be like, yeah, person, like, it's like, for example, it's like Lil Yachty. Can you imagine people be like, oh yeah, Lil Yachty, this guy is like really a psychedelic rock artist. Be like, bro, you see the past 4 or 5 albums Lil Yachty was making. It's the same thing with Doja Cat, where it's like there's this, then there's Scarlet, and then Planet Her, but you know she's more than just one thing. Like that's possible. It's possible to do. Being a pop rapper is a legitimate field of hip hop. Like this is not a new thing. So I think that this is great for her because I just think it's just like Doja Cat hit maker again, Doja Cat hook maker again, Doja Cat number one artist again, right? I just think that it's just her just like taking that, continuing that main line, the main quest, right? Main quest. I'm just amazing at what I do. I'm just showing what I do, more of that, exploring different genres of that, and continuing that. Yeah, I think it's great for her. Do you think it's a no skips?
Yeah, I'd say it's a soft skip.
Okay.
Like I don't think every song on here is an absolute banger. Like we actually were a lot less negative with this project. Like we didn't highlight some songs that we didn't like as much.
There's only like two songs I don't
Um,
like.
but even the songs that I don't like, I'm like this can play. It's not like I
Yeah.
don't need to change the song. So to me, it's a soft skips. It's not an automatic no skips, but it's a soft skip for me.
Yeah, I would say it's a soft skip as well because the songs that I don't like, and there's only one, two, three, four of them technically, um, they're forgettable. Like you can play this album from the top and you just let it run through, and any of the songs that I didn't like, just they weren't like bad, they were just like whatever. Like there's more interesting songs. Does that make sense? So I could just like I could skip them or I could just let them run and it's just like inoffensive, not very interesting versus the other songs that are like really interesting, got really good stuff happening in
Turn it
those.
up. Yeah, yeah.
So that's what it is for me. What do you feel about the cover?
This might be my favorite cover from her. I'm not
Really?
gonna lie. Yeah, and I feel
Really?
like
That's surprising.
yeah, I just really like the colors, man. Like
Okay.
I really like the colors on here. And I think it's just so interesting. Like a parachute caught in a tree.
Hmm.
Like, come on, you can't tell me you wouldn't see this at an art gallery for the highest price.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, so this to me is my favorite cover from here, her. And I like the colors. Like, this is one of those albums where it is cohesive. I feel like, the actual cover matches the music. So yeah, I'm a fan of this.
Okay. I think it's a good cover too. I like the colors as well. I don't think it's her best one. And maybe it's like hot pink. I probably like the most.
Well, of course. Well, naturally.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna say hot pink is probably my favorite one. I
Hmm.
think that the colors in this one look good. I feel like it doesn't fit the album in any way. Like there's nothing coming from the album cover where I'm like, ooh, wow, this is so connected to everything else that is happening.
The
That's not
color
gonna
of the
happen.
sky is the color of these songs. Like
Sure.
that's where I'm at with it.
If
Okay.
you want to say so, sure.
Doja Cat fans, stand by me in the comments, okay? Like we're in this together, okay? Doja Cat fans, stand by me in the comments, Doja
Uh,
Cat fans.
but the song cohesion is there though. That
Mm,
80s soundscape is very, very, very apparent.
yeah,
So
Demar hates Doja, I don't, okay?
that is not
Uh
true. That is not true. I question her let's say the things that she says are questionable to me. The things that she says, not very questionable. I love the things that the things that she sings, incredible. Things that she says, questionable.
Okay, so
To put it lightly.
tell us where you're at with a score on this one. Let's not beat around the bush,
Okay.
okay? Where are you at with a score on Doja Cat's V?
Is it V or Vi? I've been saying Vi
I thought it was V.
because I thought it was like to vie for somebody's affection. I thought that's what it was about,
Oh,
right?
okay.
I think that V or Vi. I'm gonna say Vi, but it could be V. I think this is an 8.5 out of 10. This is probably one of her best albums. Yeah, I'm saying that pretty comfortably, and I like a lot of Doja Cat's music, like Hot Pink and Planet Her. Planet Her I liked more than Hot Pink, but yeah, the hooks incredible. Her singing is the best it's ever been. It's just the
Hmm.
best it's ever been. I would say that the only thing that are drawbacks is there's a couple of songs that are just forgettable. Like Amen, I wasn't a big fan. I just think the sample was just not very interestingly used and also didn't
Hmm.
fit anything else that was happening. But singing is phenomenal. One feature, by the way. We didn't, usually we talk about who's the best feature. There was only one, so there's a really
Didn't even need it.
yeah,
Didn't even need it.
didn't need it, didn't need SZA. And I think that, it's a fun album, fun, great pop album, does all the good pop things, and then like I said, she's doing the thing that what we originally were saying Drake was doing. She is like making that to the nth degree, where it's like the sing and rap, her singing is so good that it's now eclipsing her rapping, I feel.
I'm not gonna go that far. She's amazing at rapping, but
Hmm.
she has gotten better as a singer. That's the question. Like
Yeah.
she's
It's
leveled
like
up.
it's crazy.
And I like that example of it almost eclipsing her rapping because that's something that we don't talk that much about in music. On this podcast, we do, but in general, like an artist improving as their career goes along.
Hmm.
Of like you're an album four and you rap better than you're an album one.
Right.
That's not, we don't usually monitor that, it's kind of not expected for someone to improve. So I like that you mentioned the actual growth from her in that way. For me, this
Hmm.
album's an eight. I thought I was going to be high giving it an eight. So to hear you giving it 8.5, I love that we're on the same page.
Hmm.
This is a great album. This album is almost like Adriel Smiley's personal ear candy. You
Wow.
know, I love yacht rock. I love Doja Cat rapping. I love the kind of different singing she's doing, and I love the tone of this album content wise. Like it's very light, matching the very light project.
Yeah.
Like even that choice we didn't talk about it enough, but that choice I think works so well here because if she had some of these serious raps that she had on the last project, it would just sound so weird. You're singing, it
Yeah.
sounds great, and you just come in with these serious raps. It just wouldn't fit. So I think her and the team did a great job with this one. Let us know what you guys think in the comments. Doja Cat fans, speak up, make yourself known. What do you guys think? Is this better than we think it is? Even though we're both giving it an eight plus. So
Yeah.
this is, one
Here
of the
come
best
the
albums of the year
tens.
so far. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, the fans. Are we tripping? Is this one of her worst projects? I want to know what the Doja Cat fans think. Is this an album that you are listening to a lot? How do you feel? To me, I'm going to talk about Doja Cat, I think, differently from now on. I think I always
Mm.
thought that she was better than she gets credit for.
No.
This is an album. You don't think she's better than she gets credit for?
Oh, well, I think she was, underrated, overrated. I thought she was just rated.
No, no. I think she's better than she gets credit for. I think she's popular, but that's not the same thing as getting credit for how good you
No,
are.
okay.
So I think she's never gotten the credit for how good she is. And this album to me is just a real stamp of like, who else could have made this project? Like
We
music,
were we
period.
Yeah, we were talking about, we always talk about the masters. Janet Jackson is one of the masters. I don't, if your last name is Jackson in music, you're one of the masters. And this was heavily inspired and influenced by her. But she was doing things that Janet was not doing. So that
This is
shows you how we feel about that album.
Yeah, and this is an album where I gotta ask like in the comments, let us know. Spotify, YouTube, who else could have made this project? Let us know in the comments. But this goes across genres, genders. I don't see anyone else making a project
Yeah,
like
me
this.
neither.
Like I just don't see it past, present, future. Maybe, but I don't see it. So to me, that is like a big, big gold star for Doja Cat. So big fan of this project. I want to know what you guys think. Please stay tapped in with us, okay? On the interwebs. Album Mode Pod on Twitter, Album Mode Pod on TikTok, Album Mode Pod on Instagram. Subscribe to the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the podcast. Okay, leave us a rating. 5 stars, not a single star less. And of course, subscribe on YouTube as well. We love you on YouTube, showing us that love. Listen, I know we're at home now, but we're still pretty. Okay, show us the love on YouTube. And until next time, know yourself, know your worth.
Later days. Okay,
The
sweet.
joke of this whole thing is how the sun went down from the start
I
of the
know.
podcast. When it was like going down in the middle, I was like, okay, so
Oh yeah,
the
sorry, let's get to the next part.